There are shows with psychics.
And there are shows with doctors.
But there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
and street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight,
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street-smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic
and the Doc, and it starts now.
Like a Virgo.
Touched for the very first time. Woo-woo! So
that would never be anything a Virgo would say. Welcome everybody to this. Welcome everybody to The Psychic and the Doc. And yes, we got all your emails and all your calls about the phones, but trust me, that is not this week. 1-800-930-2819. Look, today's show is called Like a Virgo. And what does that mean? Well, there are Virgos and then there are Virgos. And so we want to honor Virgos. My dad was, what was my dad? The dad was a Virgo. My best friend's a triple Virgo. You just got to love teaming up with me if you're a triple Virgo, and it will literally cause all your hair to fall out. Just look at Linda's head. But Mark, right? Today's show, we're taking live callers, but it is like a Virgo.
Yeah, it's true. My nephew's a Virgo. My grandmother was a Virgo, and they're reliable. They're very dependable, but they can also be very critical and stubborn. And of course, these are traits a lot of people have, but Virgo's a very important sign. And to me, it's one of the stabilizing signs. Virgos try to, tend to keep the more volatile people in check and stable. So that's really, really good. And we are having a call-in show. And for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, every week the show has a theme. And since we just left Leo and have now gone into the Virgo astrological time frame, that's why today's show is Like a Virgo. Okay. So, and we want to honor our friends, family members who are Virgos. And also, this is a call-in show. And Dr. Pat is a world-renowned behavioral psychologist and the founder of the Transformation Network. And her journey has just been amazing, how she went from literally living on the streets, going through all this craziness, and then becoming, Ivy League educated, becoming a psychologist, and then accidentally getting put on air. And then she took that ball and ran with it. And then here we are. And it is such an honor working with you, Dr. Pat. And so we're welcoming everybody's calls. I will, if you want, I will connect callers with loved ones in spirit. And then the important thing is, okay, so you get messages. What do they mean? And that is where Dr. Pat rocks the metaphysical world. She will help you understand, because everyone expects this to be like Alexa. Alexa, connect to the other side and tell me what I'm going to do with my life. And it's like, it doesn't work that way.
No. Hey, I got to share something with you. The amazing psychic explorer that you are. I shared something with a new host that's joining the network, co-host. She'll be joining the network. And we have something in common, sci-fi. And I was part of, I work with young people, and they're always incredible. And we always talk about sci-fi. And the topic came up about, what was the first sci-fi movie that you think ever hit the screen that showed psychic abilities? So, okay, now look, when you're working with young people that are in addiction and recovery, you better keep it real. And so I had asked that question. And it's funny because I was on the phone the other day with this Reverend Doctor, amazing woman. And I shared this with her. Do you know what my first experience of psychic was. And do you know when? And I'm going to tell you, because you see, you cannot understand what you do, Mark, and how well you do it. Look, the awards, the best-selling books, but people know you. They know what you do. They know how you do it. But to believe that we have not been embedded in our pop culture with the word psychic medium, telekinesis, you are just out of your mind. Do you want to know what my first experience was? Y'all get ready to write it down and look it up. A 1951 movie. I don't know if Jessica can get a free reel on this, called The Crawling Eye. Yes. A 1951 movie. Now, I didn't see it until I was older, right? You're 51. I'm not even, I'm like blinking maybe. But as I got older, they played all those black and white. The Crawling Eye. It was so advanced. The main character had psychic ability.
Wow.
I'm telling you. And when you go look this up and do the Google on it, you're going to see like the awards it got. The actor was beautiful. The crawling eye creature was psychic. She was psychic. They took control of minds. 1951. What do you make of that?
I think it's fascinating. And the really wonderful thing about science fiction is that you can make commentary about us and what's going on with us now without really having to take responsibility for it. Yeah, because, let's face it, people have known about psychic ability since the dawn of time. And it's usually been kept on the fringes or was made jokes of. But in my research, I do a presentation called Rulers, Royals, Psychics, and Spirits. And the subtitle is the Psychics Behind the Thrones of Power. And for thousands of years, powerful people, rulers, billionaires, they've had psychic advisors, including 1/3 of US presidents. And people say, oh, that's preposterous. The evidence is there. It's simply there. And so it's always been this fringe thing. And of course, the religious fanatics say, oh, it's evil and all this, but they really need to read the entire document known as the Bible. And you'll find that there's a lot of passages where people with these abilities are the good guys and the good girls. So this has been something that is part of human nature. This is part of the human experience. And, thank goodness we have science fiction to bring this out in the open.
And I'll tell you, it's one of my favoriteest movies, and I watched it very recently. But let's get to the phones and let's get to the Virgos. Here's what I want to say. Let's talk about Virgo for a minute, and then we'll go to the phones. I read an article. I can't remember the magazine. I think the magazine was, I don't know, but it's the brutal truth about loving a Virgo. Now, I will tell you that there is a brutal truth around that. And any of us that have ever done this, we know this to be true. And when you read about it, it's so interesting to see the way these magazines talk about it, right? They're slow to fall in love. That's what they say. Virgos are slow to fall in. They're conservative by nature. Yes, cautious with their hearts to a certain point. But they benefit more from this flirtatious, and we're going to pull up some celebrities, so y'all are going to recognize flirtatious, aggressive partners start things off. So if you're a Virgo, you absolutely want a Pisces or a Sagittarius. Just right out of the gate, I'm just saying. If you're a Virgo, go look for them because they will get things going for you. Just know that. Scorpio, too. Well, I have to go hold Scorpio back for a minute, but they're devoted, they're loyal, they communicate very well. To a fault, but dating to them feels like watching grass grow. So if you're dating a Virgo, watch grass grow because that's what it's going to feel like. But they pay attention to super details. Today's show is about Mark and I paying attention to super details and honoring that special heart of those Virgos and what they have. You may never get a hint of how they truly feel. It may take you time, but do not give up. And that's what today's show is about. This is a time of patience. It's a time of exploration. That's what you do, Mark. You open up the door for people to have their hearts open.
Well, thank you. And I want to back up to something you said about Virgos. They take their time before they give out their heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may never know what you feel. That's actually a very good lesson for everybody, because a big mistake a lot of people make is you meet somebody, you feel that surge of physical attraction, which you confuse with love. And generally a Virgo, yeah, they're going to feel the physical attraction, all that, and whatever, but they're not going to jump right into the relationship until that initial craziness has faded and you see what you've really got. So Virgos are very practical when it comes to everything, including matters of the heart. And that's, I think, why they're one of the stabilizing influences.
Yeah, they are one of the, I believe, the only sign. This is you all read it, but they're the only sign that can hang on to an ex in a healthy way for the most part and keep an open heart to even get back with them. As friends, they are incredible. You know, if you think to yourself, who do I want in the foxhole? Look around and find a Virgo. But today's show is about this. It's about opening hearts. It's about friends. It's the spirit of Virgo that we want to bring to the forefront. So we may get a little bit more detailed today in the spirit of this. And we're going to take a really short break. When we come back, we are getting on the phones. What do you say, Mark? Let's take a short break, everybody.
Sounds great.
We'll be right back. Love it. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to The Psychic and the Doc. Look, we don't do this often enough. Can you let people know how to find out more about you, Mark, if you don't mind?
Sure. And I've got a lot of events coming up. If you visit my website, afterlifefrequency.com, just like my book, the afterlifefrequency.com. And I invite you to sign up for my newsletter. And that way you'll find out about upcoming episodes of The Psychic and the Doc. Plus, I've got some online light circles limited to 6 people each coming up in October, November, and December. And there's a whole myriad of other things, plus Best Holistic Life magazine. And I think this month's article is called Navigating the World of Dreams. And I teach people how to get into, to confront recurring dreams and understand them through a meditation. And Dr. Pat, I mean, we could do a whole show on dream interpretation. And people, if you do have dreams that you want help interpreting, definitely call in. And then next month's article is entitled, There's More to the Statue of David Than Meets the Naked Eye. And I think people will find that very interesting because in September of 1504, is when Michelangelo unveiled his top secret project in Florence, Italy. And boy, did it raise a few eyebrows.
It still raises the eyebrows. Are you kidding?
That's why I wrote the article, is because this is the land that is supposed to be democracy, freedom. And when I see books getting banned and history getting revised and children not able to look at things because, oh, well, that might be dirty. Look, newsflash, men have penises, women have vaginas, and they've been portrayed tastefully and elegantly in art throughout the millennia. And the Statue of David, if it could pass the Catholic Church's Inquisition in 1504, I think it should pass some school boards in the United States. But I digress.
So we're going to go to the phones. I apologize. Little Sadie here is looking out the window, and I think little Sadie's mommy is coming, so she may have a few words to say to Mark. Let's go to the phones, Jessica.
Gotta love it. Let's go to Christina first from New York. Christina, you are on The Psychic in the Doc.
Hi, Christina. Welcome to the show. How can we help you tonight?
Oh, I want to know if you have any other connection with my daughter. I had called a couple months ago.
Gotcha.
And I'd just like to see if yeah.
I'm going to turn you right over to getting you right on to Mark right now.
All right, Christina.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I do have a female energy coming through, but she's with two other spirits, and there's an older male connected to you, could be you're the level above you, which would be in the parent level. So this could be either like your father or possibly your paternal grandfather. And he wants to step
Okay.
forward first. And with this gentleman, I feel like my lungs are burning up. And so I'm getting smoke, a lot of smoke, a burning sensation in the lungs, nauseated, which the nausea indicates he was having difficulty eating and or holding down food prior to passing. However, nausea at sometimes is one of is a cancer indicator. Does this make sense to you in any way?
Yes, it does. My dad, I guess he was using a feeding tube, so yeah, he
Yeah.
couldn't
Oh,
eat
so that yeah, that
before
would
he
be the
did.
nausea. Okay, very good, very good. So he's
Yeah.
coming through, and he wants you to know that what he's giving me, these sensations are just identifiers, and he's fine. And now a young lady is standing next to him, so this feels like this could be your daughter, and she's flipping a coin, and it's going up and down, and it landed heads up, and it's a nickel. Now that's interesting. A nickel. A nickel, all right. Do nickel before I go into my interpretation of nickels, is there anything about the number 5, like the 5th month May or the 5th of any month or the number 5, or something about a nickel or finding nickels that might make sense to you?
And not at this time, but it could.
Well, it could, yeah. And I
Nickel.
don't fling out things like nickels randomly. So there's something there, and that could mean a significant birth, death, anniversary, or event within the month of May. It does not
Okay.
have to relate to your daughter. It could relate to you or someone else close to you, either in this world or the other side. Does any of that make sense?
Well, I did have my anniversary was in May 10th.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now, with your daughter, she's immediately making me feel pain in my kidney on the right side. Now, the thing about the kidneys is they sit just above the hip. So she could be referencing an issue with the hip or with the kidney, but somehow I don't think she's talking about what was going on with her. She's focusing more on you. And you don't have to divulge your medical condition, but are you or is anyone close to you having any issues with kidneys or their hips?
I guess would be my brother with his hip. Yeah.
Well, that would be a yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he said he's topsy-turvy. You don't hear that term too much, topsy-turvy. Is he doing anything about it, or is he just sort of like, maybe I'll do something, maybe I won't?
Well,
That's the sense I'm getting.
well, he did have a hip replacement, but it didn't really take that well. So
So
Wow.
topsy-turvy,
that,
there we go. So it didn't take
yeah,
me well.
yeah.
Okay, so please let him know that she's aware of this and he needs to get it looked at again. And I get the sense,
Okay.
and whenever medical information comes by, Dr. Pat and I are not medical doctors. She's a psychologist,
Right, right.
but she's not a medical doctor. And I'm a psychic medium and a lawyer, but I'm not a medical doctor. But I get the sense that this may be able to be corrected without surgical intervention. So there could be some type of
All
physical
right.
therapy or chiropractic. It's like he's topsy-turvy and he needs to be like put back into alignment. But please, he has to run this through his healthcare provider. Now, I know you want a message for you. She said, "Mom, I'm fine." She goes, "I'm fine." And she's complimenting you. She said, "You've finally begun to take the chains off of your heart. The weight is starting to come off your heart." Now, she knows that, of course, you still grieve her and miss her, but she shows your heart. It's like this huge flower that's beginning to open. Let me see if I can see what type of flower. Interesting. It's a tiger lily. A tiger lily. Now, that's a pretty
Well,
distinctive flower. Go ahead. Anything with tiger lilies makes sense to you.
she's like, what is that show? That has that one? I can't even think. Oh, Peter Pan, Tiger
Right.
Lily.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Princess Tiger Lily. She was the Native
Yeah.
American princess.
Yes.
Okay, so All right,
Right.
good. As long
Okay,
makes
yeah.
sense to you in some way. Dr. Pat, what's your take?
What's the number 28 mean to you, if anything? If nothing, I'm going to pass. I'm just going to move on. The number 28, 28,
28,
or 10.
28 or 10. No, no. Not that
Okay.
I
Well,
can think of right now.
No, hold on, Christina. You said May 10th was your anniversary. So
Oh.
10 does make
Right, May
sense.
10th was the anniversary.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right.
Okay, then I'm going to stay with it. Thank you, Mark. I totally forgot that. You understand, do you know what the atomic number for nickel is? Do you know what the
No.
atomic, every metal's got like a number. They got a number, they got like a fancy dancy. The
Right.
atomic number for nickel is 28.
Oh,
That's 10. Okay.
okay.
So whenever Mark comes through with that, and then I get like this hit, there's an underlying message in here that's super powerful and an action that you have to take. So I don't want you to hang up and say, oh, great reading. No, there's an action here. See, in the world that I live in threes. And when things come up in threes, no number three, but when things come up in three, there's an action. And that's what I noticed about that. What do you think the action is for you when you get off here? Can you tell me? What is the action after Mark shared with you? And now I'm talking to you. Because this is like, I'm here, it's May, nickel, 2-8, May 10th. What do you think the action is you're going to have to take when you hang up here or start to think about? What is it?
I'm not really
this
sure.
is not a call. I'm telling you, this was not a call about a reading or a connection. It was about an action you have to take. Do you want me to help you? I'm going to help you real quick because I know we got a lot of calls.
Yes, please.
You got a lot of information about your brother, is it? With the hip.
Yes.
Okay. We don't do shows like this when you get this information about the brother with the hip, and then you're going to hang up and you're not going to do anything with the brother with the hip, right?
I would call him, I guess. He's in Florida.
Okay.
No, there is no I guess on that. Dr. Pat
No.
is much more
Thank
diplomatic
you.
than I am. So now
Yeah,
Mark,
go ahead,
the,
Mark.
the psychic is stepping aside and Mark the lawyer is coming up. All right. Christina,
Okay,
call
okay.
your
Call your
brother.
brother.
Call your brother
okay.
and tell
Yeah.
him to go to the doctor to
will.
find out
Yeah.
about, no, stop talking and listen, about non-invasive ways of getting him in alignment. Come on, Christina.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
your
and the
father
reason-
and
Okay.
your father, your brother's father, and your
Right.
daughter come all the way from heaven to give you advice to give to your brother, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Come on, Christina.
Yeah.
This is a good message. And now you are the champion
Yeah.
for your brother from the
Yeah.
other side. Now,
Yeah.
Mark the psychic will come
All
back.
right.
Namaste. Be at peace.
Okay. And then I want to give you this last bit of information.
Okay.
The topsy-turvy hip replacement. Hip replacements usually, according to my doctor friends, go really well. There usually isn't a topsy-turvy hip. I mean, we don't have topsy-turvy hip replacements. Get a second opinion.
Right.
Go look at it. It may need chiropractic, but the man should not suffer. Okay?
He shouldn't be in pain.
Put on your warrior shield. Go get him. Thank you.
I will give him a
All
call.
right,
Thank you.
All right, Christina, you
All
go
right.
for it.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right.
Yeah,
God bless.
and she's going to go, and we're going to bring on another curler, but I want to tell you something else. Nickel is a metal. When you get a hip replacement, there's metal. So I didn't want to get into this because I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. But when nickel shows up, it could mean, if I was a little psychic, something in the metal in the hip thing. Got that? Because I have 2 new knees and I can tell you a lot about metal. Let's go, Jessica.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to Sally from New York. Sally, you are on the Psychic in the Dock.
Hi, Sally.
Oh, I'm so honored. How is everybody?
I'm going to sing, but I won't. I was going to sing, Sally, go round the roses. Sally, how can we help you tonight? Come on.
We are like having such a good time here. Thank you for calling in, Sally. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for talking about the crawling eye. I remember seeing that when I was a child, and it was fabulous. So
Don't
Anyway,
you
I would like
think?
to know,
Oh,
Mark,
but
if
wait,
there.
Sally, wait. One last question. Don't you remember the whole psychic thing in that Crawling Ice show?
I don't remember the whole
Oh,
thing. I was
go
so
watch it
young when I
again.
saw it, but I'm going
Oh,
to look it up on YouTube and see it
oh,
again. So,
you can watch it. Okay, let me turn you over to Mark. Go ahead.
okay. Hi, Mark. I was wondering if I have anybody on the other side who would like to speak to me
You do.
or
There's a
give
female.
that.
Hold on. Oh, hold on, Sally. Let me do this. What it is? There's a female energy coming through. She really wants to talk to you quite a bit. And she is. I don't know if she's on the parent level. She could be above that. She could be like a grandparent or a great aunt, or she could be. It doesn't quite feel like a mother, but she's a mother type of figure. That's why I'm thinking kind of a grandmother. This woman had a few extra pounds on her. All right. I mean, she's coming through and she had a few extra pounds on her. And toward the end of her life, I'm getting this weight on her chest, and I'm getting a lot of cardiovascular problems. Now, obviously, people that tend to be overweight have cardiovascular problems, but these were really exacerbated toward the end of her physical life. And the thing is, I'm getting that she was sharp as a tack all the way up to the very end. She knew that she was going to die. Her passing was not a surprise or a quick event. I get a bit of a decline. A decline doesn't mean she was laying in bed for 6 months. It could be, a couple weeks, but I get my lungs are filling up a fluid. So this could be pneumonia or congestive heart failure. Those type of things have a very similar physical sensation to me. She's pointing to her throat. And she's pointing to her throat, which would indicate that at the end she was having a very difficult time speaking. And she keeps talking about angels. Now that could be maybe you or she liked angels or images of angels. It could mean a name like Angela or Angelo, sometimes Anthony or Andrew. It's that angel. But there's something about the angels, the angelic realm, that will resonate with you. That's why she's giving me this. Now, let me hold position here. Does any of this resonate with you?
Well, I didn't know my grandparents. My grandmother. They all died before I was born. My mother was not heavy. My ex-husband's mother was very heavy, and I
Okay, go
didn't
ahead.
have any contact. I didn't have contact with her probably 10 years
That
from
doesn't
the
matter.
point of 10 years before she died.
Right.
But we weren't really close.
All right, hold on. Instead of torpedoing everything, spirits will come through whether or not you spoke to them, whether or not you were close to them, there was still a connection. Because what happens is, and I'm instructing, not criticizing, a lot of people get into what I call the no syndrome, which includes
Yep.
hyperanalysis and overthinking it away. So this woman is coming through. That's the one that matches up. Now, angels, images of angels. Do you like angels, images of angels? Do you do anything with like meditation, the angelic realm? Or could there be somebody with a name like Angela or Angelo connected to you in any way?
No.
See, you're no. And go ahead,
May I?
Dr. Pat.
Well,
Angina.
I would say,
Angina.
um,
Wait up.
ETs are my thing, not angels.
No, it's not an angel. Angina. Angina is a heart deal.
Oh.
Not a person. I'm sorry, Mark. I know it sounds like I'm talking about a person. Angina is heavy on the chest. It feels like, right? Heavy on the chest.
Yes,
It's right.
yes.
Again, we're not doctors, but that heaviness on the chest, angina, look it up. Stress, lung complications. Anybody you know like that. Let's just go down that path for a minute.
Well, she did complain of angina all the time.
Bingo. There you go. Yay, Dr.
Angina
Pat.
to the rescue. All right, Mark, continue.
All right. Now, interesting. She's focusing on your vehicle. And if it's not your vehicle, it's a vehicle that you are in quite often. And I'm getting issues with braking, brake pads, something, though it's the braking system. So I don't know if you've had your vehicle in for a checkup, but there's something with the brakes, the brake pads, the braking system. Or this could also indicate that you may have almost been in an accident recently and had to hit the brakes really strong, but there is an issue with the vehicle and your brakes. And I realize this is not the message that you were looking for, but the other side knows the message you need to hear, whether or not it's the one you think you want. So I want you to concentrate on the braking system or a near mishap. This is
Yeah.
very important.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's due for inspection. I was going to call today. I will call tomorrow to get in next week.
Bingo.
Bingo. Now, see, this is what is known as spirit intervention. And this is where your spirits, and there's more than one spirit around you. We just don't have the time to do a full-blown reading. That's why we do the mini readings. But your collective of spirits is telling you that you're going to get into an accident, and they're intervening to prevent that from happening. So tomorrow, you get in, you get that checked. Okay, I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. Can I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
I know we're giving you a lot of information. I just have one question. Are you drinking enough fluids? Are you drinking enough fluids?
I'm trying to drink like 30 ounces a day of water. Yes.
How's that working for you?
Actually, more than that.
Okay. So you are drinking the fluids?
Oh, yes.
Good. Last question. Any decongestion? Am I saying that? Any
Congestion, yeah.
Decongestion. Tell me about that.
Decongestion.
No.
Congestion.
So
Are you having any
Yeah,
congestion?
I got it.
Oh, yeah, flip.
Do me a favor before you get yourself in your car. You need to check your brake fluid.
Okay. Brake
Yeah,
fluid.
that's
Okay.
all-
Yeah.
Angina fluid,
Okay.
brake fluid. Just do me a
Okay.
favor if you are going to do this. You know what? This is just who we are. Don't drive too far if you have to take that
Okay.
car in, if you think something's wrong with it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. Just be
They're two
careful.
blocks away.
Oh,
All
great.
right,
Yeah,
good,
I will.
good.
Be like a Virgo, because the Virgo
Yeah,
would be
Virgo.
pounding on the brakes and checking everything and be backing up and down and squeak, 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 squeak. Like a Virgo.
Okay,
for you.
and
Thank
Mark,
you.
Mark,
Yeah.
I have one question.
Sure.
Mark, do you know who Galen Beckett is?
I do not.
You do not. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Well, hold on. Now I got a question for you. Why am I supposed to know who Galen
Yeah,
Beckett
that's
is?
what I wanted to know.
Well, when I was researching you and I was looking at your wiki page, but I was going through people who are called Mark Anthony, and there's one guy who's in Colorado who's an author of science fiction, and his name is Galen Beckett. Parentheses Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. You know what? You're
and
right.
I swear the picture that he's got for his website is the one that you use for yours.
Really?
Really? So he's probably in an impersonating account. So either that or he's
No,
he's
real. He's real. He's real. I know this author because I read one of his books. I read one of his
he
books.
is real, and my public library has his book, and I reserved it because I thought if you wrote it, I want to read it.
But I'm going to check into that. So I'm glad you brought him up, and read Beyond the Pale. Read the book Beyond the Pale. All right. Thank you for calling.
Sure. And that must mean that he is a devastatingly handsome man.
Well, I had the same thought when I saw it.
I'm kidding. But
He
I
actually-
appreciate you calling.
Yes,
Well,
he
you know,
is.
it's funny because, and Dr. Pat, hold on before you go. It has been said that, we all have doubles, okay? And I remember my cousin came back from Italy, and in Italy, they on the tombstones, on the headstones, they put a picture of the person, and she showed the whole family this video, and she was filming it, and then everybody in the room gasped.
Yeah.
There was a guy that looked, I mean, identical to me, and he died like a year before I was born. And if you put his picture next to my law school picture, because I was 23 when I graduated law school, and he was 23 when he died, it was like a duplicate. And then of course everyone's like, oh, you must be reincarnated. It's like, yeah, well, here's the thing, he's a relative. All right. So there's people that, we all kind of look alike, and we have
I gotta tell
things.
you, let's go to a short break. He has your vibe though. And I know this author, and it didn't register me because I knew him. I know him as Mark Anthony, but I didn't put it together. Let's take a short break. We come back, we're hitting the phones. And honestly, we have no association with him except that I've read his books. So let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Oh, boy. Psychic in the Dark. I'm fired up tonight, Virgo. Thank you.
We are, we got
I
out
love
of it's funny because Leo is one of these dynamic, like in your face signs, and now all of a sudden we're into the very Spock-like sign of
But look at how detailed
Virgo.
we are tonight in the show, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
why
are.
would I think of nickel number 28? I mean, who
Well,
does that?
Well, that's part of the reason I like working with you, because you're good at see, I'm in the link and I'm working with it, and then the client, they're either quick on the uptake or they're like, oh my God, I'm on the spot, and they may not be making the connections. But as an objective third-party observer, you're able to put this together. I do want to clarify. When Dr. Pat and I say that we're not medical doctors, that's because we're not medical doctors, although we both hold doctorate degrees.
Yes, we
It's
do.
just not in medicine. Okay.
That's correct.
So when medical information comes through transmitted by spirits, they're bringing up an issue. So if they say broccoli, that doesn't mean start eating tons of broccoli. And generally, it does, but maybe you're allergic to it. So the issue is broccoli, because a lot of people are like, no. And it's like, as for Dr. Pat, it's like, well, let's look at it a different way. It's not angel, it's angina. Oh yeah, boom. So
I know that one because my dad, that's what got my dad. Yeah. All right, Jessica, let's go. Let's roll them.
Absolutely. Let's go to Jerry from South Florida. Jerry, you are on the Psychic in the Dark.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Dr.
Jerry.
Pat.
How
Hi,
the
Mark.
heck are you? How can we help you, Jerry?
I don't have any Virgos in my life right now, but probably on the other side. But I would just like to know if there is anyone on the other side who would like to speak with me.
You betcha. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, Jerry, let's open up, and I'm getting a male energy coming through. And with him, he keeps talking about the cyst, the CY, I guess, ST, the cyst. And he's pointing to the area around his liver. So this could indicate he may have been having some problems with his liver. He could have had some tumors there. And now I feel that nauseated sensation. So of course, prior to passing, he definitely was having difficulty with his GI tract, stomach, difficulty eating. And I feel very, very physically cold. I don't believe that it was cold, ambient temperature where he was. This would be a circulation issue. So this poor guy, he suffered quite a bit. And his passing, it took some time, and he was mentally clear, sharp, and focused, although he was heavily medicated for the pain. And thank goodness he was, because I think without that, the pain would have been unbearable. There's other issues like in his urinary tract and prostate, that area. This poor guy, it came on, and then the cyst, the disease spread like wildfire, particularly through his abdominal and colorectal area. Does any of this make sense to you, Jerry?
Yes. It could be either one of two people that I was close to.
Or if you're on speakerphone, can you go off speakerphone, please? Because
no, I'm not.
I need a. Okay, all right, yeah. Whatever you're doing now, do that. Okay, because you're much clearer and softer because you're coming through. Do you have speakers on in the background? You
No,
need to turn. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Keep talking like that. Okay. Because
the
when we get the
air
feedback,
conditioner is on. Maybe that's it.
no, it's
No,
not an air conditioner. It's a
it's
sound
just you may
quality
be a
thing.
little close to the phone. Yeah, see, everybody thinks sometimes that, we can't hear you, but we got super equipment. So you don't even have to be real close to the phone.
Okay.
There you go. That's
there
it.
you go.
Okay.
I love
Now,
that. That was
how
sexy.
how does what I transmitted to you make sense?
Okay. I had an old friend who had prostate cancer, and he really
That would be that.
suffered.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be that. And he keeps
Okay.
giving you a garnet. A garnet. Let me finish before you respond. A garnet is the
Okay.
birthstone for a garnet is the birthstone for the month of January. So what that can indicate is a
Oh my
significant.
goodness.
All right, go ahead. How does that make sense?
His birthday is January 30th.
Right, but that's not January. Okay. Did you mean January 30th? Because there is no February 30th.
January 30th, you said, right?
Yeah, January 30th.
January 30th.
Okay, I
Mark.
thought I heard February 30th.
Wow.
Okay. Okay,
Wow.
anyway, so that's a yes. Okay, so now we know that it's him. So let's get a message for you from him. Interesting. Where you live, is there like sulfur water or an artesian well? Because I'm smelling sulfur water.
There was when I lived in New Jersey.
I can't understand anything.
And
you're
You
saying.
now
live in you live in New Jersey, is that what you said?
at one time, I wonder if I should turn the volume down.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can't understand a thing.
Yeah, she's turning the volume down.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear me now?
Very
Better.
good.
Can you hear
yeah.
me?
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, barely,
Okay.
yes.
When I lived in New Jersey, there was well water, but now I'm in Florida, and they're putting a lot of chemicals in the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I
that's-
ask you, where in New
reflush it.
Jersey? Where in New Jersey?
The Jersey Shore, Bricktown, Point Pleasant.
Yep. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, that's the message is, and I'm not being funny or facetious when I say this, but do not drink the water. So you need to be drinking filtered water, bottled water, reverse osmosis water, because what he's
Got it.
explaining is he said there's a lot of issues going on with you in the organs that filter your body, like the liver, the kidneys, the bladder. And he said to get the sediment and the buildup in there, he's also explaining that you may be very prone to kidney stones. And honestly, even though I'm not a doctor, I think telling someone to drink more water is safe. And the number one way to prevent kidney stones is to drink a lot of water. So hydration.
I have had
water,
kidney stones
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
a couple
what?
times.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
well,
had them
there
a
you
I
go.
have
couple of
had
times.
kidney
There
stones.
you go. There you
A
go.
couple
So
of times.
see, he's doing spirit intervention to
Yeah.
make sure that you don't get the kidney stones. And he's saying drink plenty of water. He's also saying that you've gotten to the point where it's time to lift your heart up. Lift your heart up. This is not medical. This is emotional. Lift your heart up. It's like I remember being in church, like lift your heart up to the Lord. Let's say lift your heart up to the light. You can interpret that as in a Christian context or in a sense of the light. He says, just lift your heart up. He said, because you already know. You already know. So essentially, you're on a very good spiritual path, and you're lifting your heart up to the light, and make sure that you drink lots of water that is not tap water or well water. Dr. Pat.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm going to leave you with that because that is the most important message. And by the way, New Jersey Shore, I was part of cleaning up the Hudson and cleaning up what was going and deposit on the New Jersey Shore. When I was younger, I stepped on a hypodermic needle and who knows, but I'm just trying to say to you, those are signs about water and there is no compromise. You understand what I'm saying? Do not
Yes.
compromise about water for yourself.
Is there any message about one of my grandchildren?
No,
No.
not at this time. You needed
Yeah.
to hear the water message.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
Thank
you needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Jerry.
you. Thank you. Jessica, let's go. We have time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we have time for one more. We've got Tom from Italy. Tom, welcome to the Psychic in the
Tom.
Dock.
Hey, Tom.
Hello, buongiorno. How are you
my
both doing?
goodness. Don't get me fired up. How can we help you?
Okay, great. Excuse me. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking my call. It's been about 4 or 5 months, and
I miss you, Tom.
so about a week ago, I have a bunch of things, and I'm glad we have time for the call. A bunch of things. I personally would like to thank you. Last week, my daughter called in, and both of you came through and basically said the other side, and also just being smart and tough love. Basically said, it was a relationship that
Oh,
was not
yes.
going well, and right, okay, if you remember it. So
Like
anyway,
it was
and
yesterday,
afterwards,
Tom. I remember it like it was yesterday.
well,
I
it's
hope you're going
funny
to give me
because
good
about
news.
Go ahead,
yes.
Tom.
So she broke up with him, and she felt badly about letting him go and whatever. And so a few days later, on his Facebook page, there he is with his new motorcycle, smiling, drinking Aperol spritzes, and driving all around Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you
You're
because you
welcome.
were both so
Yeah.
helpful in getting her to recognize it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pat, almost a year ago, she had called in, and you said something that made so much sense. And you said, when it's light, it's right. And
That's
that
right.
relationship, unfortunately, was not light. So
Yeah.
I did want to thank both of you.
You're
So
welcome.
I
Well,
actually have a
Let
bunch
me
of
just tell you, Tom, tell her this. We were both being really diplomatic with her around that because that
Right.
was a
I know
really
that.
sore spot in her heart. Okay.
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
tell people go break up or whatever. I remember the
almost did.
messages that were
I
coming
almost
through.
did.
Yeah, we were both having to hold back because the thing
Yeah.
is, spirits are not here to control us. They're not necessarily here to
That's
answer
right.
the question that we want, but they can provide guidance because one of the reasons that we are living in the material world is to learn life lessons and to overcome the trials and the tribulations that are presented. And it's a lengthy discussion. Well, why is that? But that's what it is. So they're not here to tell you break up with this person or marry that person. You have to decide on your own. And from what you're telling us, apparently she made the decision that was best for her.
Yeah. Yeah. How can we
That's
help
right.
you, Tom?
That's right. Good. So anyway, the last couple of shows, one dealt with vinyl and one dealt with Leo. I'm just going to circle back to that. But first, Mark, is anyone coming through for me? Messages?
Yeah, I'm getting a female energy. Feels like she could be on the mother level. We're getting a lot of mother energies coming through tonight. And she's what does she want you to know? She said, you're slick, you're quick, but don't be thick. Whoa. You're slick, you're quick, but don't be thick. I understand. What I think that means is you've got a very good mind. You think fast. When I slick, it doesn't mean negative. I mean, you can be shrewd, and you can be very analytical. But she said sometimes you got to be careful not to be thick by making an impulsive a decision. Dr. Pat, how would you interpret that? You're quick,
I would.
you're
Yeah.
slick, but don't be thick.
Yeah, I think, Tom, my sense is you're on the verge of some decisions. You don't have to share them on air, but call in next week. You're on the verge of some decisions. And again, we're in Mercury in retrograde. And I want to be very clear about this. This is a very unique Mercury in retrograde. By the way, Madonna, like a virgin, like a Virgo, was actually born with Mercury in retrograde. So this is a time for you. What is the word I want to use, Tom? Because you are a man of action. So it's hard to hold back. So is there an area of your life, maybe it's around your daughter, where you should hold back a little bit? You know what I'm saying, Tom?
Well, actually, this has nothing now to do with my daughter and her actions.
Okay.
But so interesting. Two things. And Mark, is anyone else coming through? Because I do want to mention the vinyl.
No one else. That's the message you needed to hear tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to realize this is not
well,
an
anyway.
on-demand service because people think that.
No, because I realize that. I just wanted to.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
people
I
think,
gave you the vinyl answer.
yeah, and
I
people
referenced
think this.
Madonna.
Yes, I just
Yeah,
wanted
this-
to tell you, my dad, who has always come through in readings, he used to work at a vinyl record company for many years. So that was an interesting thing. And then the Leo, Mark, I think you're referencing my mom, who is a Leo. And so I'd like to end this call with just telling what happened, because now I'm starting to understand. I have some intuitive
2
ability,
minutes.
not
Can
a
you do
lot,
it in
but
2 minutes, Tom?
Tom,
2 minutes I
45
can.
seconds or less.
So-
Yeah, go ahead. Do it in 2 minutes.
sure.
Yeah.
So we are applying for a grant for a certain film, and we were thinking about it. Well, I end up getting waken up by side pain, 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? After like tossing turning for half hour, my ideas started coming through. I know it was my mom. I know she was helping. We have now rewritten this story. We have expanded it. We've submitted it, and in a month or so, we'll know whether or not it gets approved.
Can you tell me the date that you
amazing.
woke
And
up?
after I finished writing that,
When did you get the
writing
side
all of
pain,
that,
Tom?
the pain disappeared.
When did you get the side pain? Real quick, tell me what day?
At 3:30 in the morning, and I wrote for 3
Which day?
hours.
Which day?
Oh gosh, I don't remember exactly.
Was it in July or August?
It was late June, early July.
Yeah, good. And the reason I asked that question is because that makes total sense to me. That was a super uber creative time. The fact that you're doing this now and you're going through, you're imperfect. Do you know what this Mercury in retrograde is about? I'm going to leave you with this, Mark, and we'll talk about this next week. Do you know what this is about? Mercury in retrograde is absolutely about being bold. It's about bold move. If you're a Sagittarius, all your father figures are going to really give you a hard time and get rid of them. But Tom, this is about bold. Now, you understand, now through September, it's bold. You got that?
I'm
Bold.
there.
All right. And it's about your inner voice. This Mercury in retrograde has nothing to do with shutting up. Go get him, Tom.
Thank you both.
You got to
Thanks,
fill
Tom.
us in about this next time. I'm telling you, Mercury in retrograde and Virgo right now, none of this is about getting quiet and getting linear. It's not about confusion. It is about your inner voice. You get bold and you move on. Mark, last word.
It's been a pleasure being on air with Dr. Pat, and we will be back next week, and we will be taking your calls. So for all of you, thank you for calling in, and for everybody else that didn't get a chance, we didn't get to, we'll get to you next week, and we're looking for new callers next week. And I'm Mark Anthony, and this is Dr. Pat, and this is the Psychic and the Doc on Transformation Network. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Psychic and the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on the Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.